Come on, show up. Here we are. I got it.
All right, so welcome everybody. This
Well,
is
aren't we smart?
yeah, indeed. So this is game number 1 in a best of 5 between Doubt and Slam versus Miguel and Dogao. This is Empire vs. Duo quarterfinals. With me is Ornlu, who would gladly introduce the players, I believe.
Well, if you insist. So, I forget whatever they signed up with. I think no one replied, but it'll be Doubt and Slam for Gamer Legion, their new team. Slam will be the Green Franks to the southeast, and Doubt will be the Blue Ethiopians to the southwest, and they will be up against the Heresy team of Dogao as the Saracens to the northwest, and Miguel as the Red Berbers to the northeast.
So Saracen Berbers, I'm not surprised on Saracens here. As I said, you just kind of pick that very frequently on Arabia if that's available. And it appears that Miguel is going to lose a villager here pretty early on. I think I can recommend you to fast forward a tiny bit until we catch up with the live game.
I'm at the live game.
Okay, you're at the live game, that's perfect. I'll be there as well. So basically, Dogao going for the double range archers opening here, going for market. This is definitely a less greedy play than it can possibly be with Saracens. Technically, you can just go market, sell your wood, sell your stone, and go up into Castle Age without even making a single archer range here. But if you're exposed like this, you can actually go for a few archers, and that's exactly what Dogao is going to go for. So his Castle Age isn't going to be as good as it could possibly be, but in exchange, he's not going to die.
Yeah, it feels a little suicidal to be going for that, especially on Arabia, where it is fairly open. But also, Miguel's not really going to want to commit a ton to Feudal Age, because Berbers really don't have much of a bonus going for them in Feudal Age. You're really going to want to get into Castle Age so you can just spam those cheap knights, especially versus like Franks early on. But it looks like everything will be pretty hunky-dory, as we actually have Doubt switching over into Skirmishers quite early on.
Yeah, indeed, Doubt is adding some archers and harassing Dogao's wood lines. Dogao could just fall back over here, and the other thing I'm noticing is that Slam is investing quite a lot into his scout's aggression. That might be completely worthless, because apparently there is full walls for everybody. By the way, Dogao has an opening on the north that he might not actually spot.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
By the way,
it's very far away, though, but...
I don't think it really is going to matter in the next few minutes, but... Oh, I think he noticed it. He's sending a villager around. Nope, that's just the villager derping out in the north over there with a random tree being chopped. But it's very fun that it's actually Dogao who specifically taught me this, that always check if there is a hole.
Oh, yes.
And whenever we were reviewing my recordings, he was like, oh, you should have checked for a hole. And it's him who is not checking it right now.
The irony.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, he has better things to do right now, namely that his woodline's getting pressured quite hard. And I like Doubt's addition to Skirms quite a bit here, because he probably knows that he's going to face crossbows pretty early on here, as Dogao's already up to Castle Age. And what is... Look at Slam. This is an extremely good Castle Age time, considering that he went for so many scouts.
Yeah, I was actually looking at this. The whole macro of Slam has been quite excellent. He's made a lot of scouts, but he didn't really invest into many upgrades for them, and he's still going to get a very strong Castle Age time, like, what, 25-ish plus 40%, even faster than Miguel. And if you can get up to Castle Age faster, then that's going to help sort of mitigate the threat of the Berber spam, because you can just get your stables running earlier, so that likely if there is a third stable added here, actually only the second stable now being added for Miguel, so yeah, Slam definitely going to have a nice edge in that.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, there is 2 villagers down from Doubt, thanks to Miguel's scouts. I think there was a great value over there from that. And in the meanwhile, Doubt is trying to push Dogao's base, but Dogao is just sitting back at home chilling, and he's gonna have crossbows very soon.
Indeed, Dogao went and sold some stone to get up to a much faster Castle Age time than Doubt. Also, Dogao waited until he clicked up to get +1 defense, whereas Doubt got that quite early on. Doubt only making 3 skirmishers is a little strange to me. Like, you'd think he would go for, like, a lot of skirmishers or none, but now that Castle Age is coming in, there is no way you can fight that, so run away if you're Doubt.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, fast ballistics coming in here for Dogao. That's definitely a very aggressive play. Basically, if you do this Saracen fast castle play in Empire Wars, you can do 2 things. Either go forward, at least this is what you would do in 1v1, go forward and go forward Siege Workshop, or go fast ballistics. Dogao is gonna choose the latter one and now go against Doubt, and Doubt could be in danger because there is not a lot of places to fall back to for him.
Yeah, I know, like, one of the biggest things I struggle with in my own games, whether it be 1v1s or team games, is whether, like, when my opponent's faster up to castle age than me. Because I feel like it's just so hard to hold on if your opponent has, a bunch of crossbowmen barreling down on you.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll have to see if Doubt can do it. He will also be up against the triple stable knight play like we were suspecting from Miguel. However, his teammate Slam does have the +2 defense already.
Yeah, and Slam is also going to be on free TC, so his eco is going to be better. Now, question for you. If you're up against Franks and you know that Doubt has to defend against the Dogao, wouldn't you go for straight up camos so you can just beat those Frankish knights very easily because the archers aren't there to help anyways?
I still like the knights a bit more. The idea, I think, is that you can just outmass your opponent, and then the knights can also help clean up Dogao's archers, and you know that if your opponent is, like, economically... Or, no, sorry. If you clean up Doubt, you know that he's not going to be an amazing economic spot, and then you can just run him over and win instantly.
Yeah, anyways, Dogao does have ballistics, so with good micro, he can actually take a good fight over here over Doubt. But there is the knights coming in here for Slam. This is a great fight for Doubt and Slam here, I believe.
It's a fantastic fight, actually, because Dogao's going to get cleaned up. Where is Miguel? He's trying to catch up with his own knights, but the numbers of Doubt are far greater than that of Dogao, and that's because Doubt waited longer to click up the castle age, waited to mass up a greater amount of archers earlier, and now we're looking at, around a little over 3 times, almost 4 times the army size for Doubt compared to Dogao, and this could easily just turn into a counter steamroll.
Yeah, indeed, and Doubt also has the Ethiopian crossbows, plus he already has ballistics and +2 armor now. Dogao doesn't have +2 armor. And as I said, fast Thumbring here is going to be insanely hard to stop.
Doubt does not have Thumbring yet, though.
Yep, but he could actually go for that. He goes for the eco-heavy approach here, going for double TCs, but he could have gotten Thumbring here if he wanted to, but he's just gonna boom behind this one because, well, he's Doubt. But that's a lot of knights from Miguel, and honestly, Slam doesn't really have a lot of knights over here in this combat, and the cheap Berber knights could pay off in the long run.
Yeah, there is some nice quick walling in here for Dogao. He will be losing some villagers, though, as his town center's almost done. There it is. And looks like Gamer Legion has thought the better of this fight, and will be at least pulling back just a little bit. But as you were saying, both of the former secret players are going triple TC, and their eco is going to be far, far better, so they can just hang out a little bit.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine for them, although Miguel is also on 2 TCs now. He also has the Berber villagers, which makes it a little bit more efficient of an eco, and he has +2/+2 on his knights. Means that he could actually beat those Frankish knights, and apparently they might just go straight towards Doubt's base while Doubt and Slam are maneuvering around Dogao.
Yeah, in general, I like it going for the cavalry player, just because then the cavalry speed cannot be used defensively, and then the crossbow player teammate's gonna, have to schlep all the way across the map. But, both players trying to abuse the positioning of the other, and now we have Doubt and Slam in the base of Dogao, and then Miguel and Dogao in the base of Doubt. So let's see who dies less.
Yeah, I think the difference is that Doubt and Slam aren't in a position to do a lot of damage to the eco of Dogao. And in the meanwhile, the archer ranges could go down here from Doubt, plus you also have Saracen crossbows here that can melt buildings very fast. Whereas for Doubt and Slam, this isn't really the case, even though they're killing a few villagers with the knights. Dogao is down to 54.
Yeah, like, Slam's eco is super sick, but the whole point of this play from Miguel and Dogao is just possible. The knights have +2 attack already, so they're even going to be that much more useful against buildings, and at this point, you can just start clicking town centers.
Yeah, and if you take a look at Slam's base, that's where things are starting to fall apart, because Slam is facing massive raids over here from those +2/+2 knights. They have to withdraw their entire army, and in the meanwhile, Doubt is just losing his archer ranges, losing his TCs here. Both secret players or GL players have a huge amount of idle time right now on their eco.
It's going to take a long time for us to not call them Team Secret players. Something that's a little bit of a mistake from Dogao is he keeps on wandering his crossbows into the range of the TCs, and Doubt's doing a very nice job of focusing down the crossbowmen. But still, it's pretty much a disaster for him. I think this has just been a masterful, abuse of the positioning. by Dogao and Miguel, and they're just really, really taking it to their opponents right now.
Yeah, exactly. Slam has 44 idols out of 59 villagers, and the cheap Berber Knights are paying off, so Slam, he just got overrun by Knights over here, and basically what Miguel is doing is trading Knights to villagers right now. He knows he's gonna lose his Knights, but he's just raiding Slam so hard. But being honest, Daud is still in an acceptable position because he didn't lose a lot of eco. And he
didn't lose any of his town centers.
Yeah, and he still has 36 crossbows over here. And remember that in this tournament, any kind of slinging is allowed. So technically, Slam could sling Daud into quite a lot of crossbows, potentially a fast Imperial to Orbs. And those crossbows from Daud could still do decent damage to Dogao, but Dogao is now on 3 TCs, and I think Miguel will stay on 2 for the time being.
I think the big thing is that you deny the production of Doubt. I mean, you almost killed 2 archery ranges, and that's going to really slow down his, well, archer production. It's going to give Dogao, even though he ended up losing most of his crossbowmen, it's going to be giving him time to catch back up in numbers. And because, interestingly, they didn't go super all in with this, both players of...
Doubt's archers are going to die.
Doubt, why are you walking in the middle of the map all by your lonesome?
Oh man, that hurts so much for Doubt. He's trying to get as much value as he can for those crossbows, trying to pick off a few from Dogao, but that was an awful fight. I don't think he expected Miguel to be there with that many Knights.
Yeah, and this really comes down to just the excellent positioning, I think, of Miguel especially. Like, he is everywhere where he needs to be with these Knights. It feels like they're just omnipresent on the map.
Yeah, Slam has quite a lot of Knights here though, and honestly, despite the fact that Slam suffered quite a lot of damage, I mean, Slam is still in this game economically, even though now Dogao has the lead. I actually thought that they were just gonna call the GG when Slam got raided that badly, but it appears that Slam is fighting. And I would like to remind you that in the previous round where Doubt and Slam faced off against... I don't even know who they played, but probably someone knows. They actually lost the Arabia game as well.
Interesting.
In fact...
you think that's where they'd be strongest?
In the majority of the tournament games so far, the weaker team was the one that won Arabia.
Huh. Interesting. I guess Arabia is the map that like everybody is most comfortable with, so there's, I guess, the most room for upsets. But that's what I think pretty interesting to me. But meanwhile, Slam is under a ton of pressure. I still think this game is very even in terms of, either team can still win it. Everyone has within the, 10 villagers of each other. But Dogao is around 42% of the way to Imperial Age. And I'm not the biggest fan of Miguel and Dogao trying to force this fight, while also Dogao's teching up behind this.
Yeah, exactly. They should wait until they get Arbalest, especially considering they will just lose their entire army if they take this fight. Doubt's got the crossbows for Ethiopian, so those are way better crossbows than Dogao's, especially since Dogao doesn't have +2 armor, just going in with that. And while I'm getting the information, it was Ziamziak and Jack, 2 Polish players, that defeated Doubt and Slam on Arabia in the previous round.
Yeah, those guys are pretty good. The Polish players played in OBNC, and they actually had some really solid games.
Yeah, they're pretty solid indeed. Now, indeed, Dogao is losing quite a lot of crossbows over here, just coming in with the +2. And also, he's losing quite a lot of crossbows on the left side as Doubt gets Thumbring in, so those are Ethiopian crossbows with Thumbring right now.
Yeah, but Dogao got Thumbring, I think, a long time ago, so it was effectively nullifying the fire rate bonus, as the extra fire rate granted from Thumbring is about the same as the Ethiopian bonus. It's a little bit more for Ethiopians, but it's very comparable. So now, once again, Doubt is going to have that advantage, but now we have to look at Imperial Age Arb Bracer on the way, as Dogao and Miguel run until the upgrades come in.
Yeah, but can they run away? I think this is the moment where Slam just needs to commit and take that fight as best as possible. Try to get a surround on the crossbows. And there's also a lot of Vululus coming in here. I don't think that those crossbows will be upgraded to Arbs here in large numbers.
There's going to be like around, 10 or so? Exactly 10, when the upgrades start coming in. But the fight's already, 2/3 of the way over at this point, and the Arbs are now, I think, just trying to retreat and maybe save as many as possible. And again, I think this comes back to the, why did you try and take this fight when you did? It's still, I think, going to be fairly even, but... Well, honestly, that's probably okay, because if it's an even fight, then Dogao's just going to come forward with more and more archers and really start to snowball things. Yeah,
Doubt is idling his TC so he can click up into Imperial himself. But in the meanwhile, if you take a look at the right side, Miguel is in a better position than Slam right now, both economically and in terms of military numbers and map position as well.
Yeah, that's honestly like really sick play from Miguel this game, but it's I think looking really bad for Doubt. You know, you have Saracen archers that can just easily snowball it. I mean, it's like a do-it-yourself siege weapon, and those TCs could just be getting targeted really soon as Doubt is losing almost all of his crossbowmen down to 3 military.
Yeah, it's very bad. Honestly, the biggest thing that's missing for Miguel on the right side is more production. He has 6 knights queued up on all of his stables. Like, if he cancelled the majority of those, then he could just go into Imperial, or if he made 3 more stables, he could just flood knights all day.
Yeah, I think you can make arguments for either, but no arguments for having a bunch of knights queued up at 3 stables. But he is adding more stables right now.
Oh, that's a lot
so
of knights coming in here from Slam, and honestly, Dogao doesn't really have a lot of ARBs here.
In fact, there's one more knight than Arbalest. Okay, but more are coming in, and there is the forward castle attempt.
Yeah, but
Doubt's trying to come in with his own crossbowman to help out. This is pretty bad.
That's a great fight for Doubt and Slam. Look at that. They're just gonna destroy the ARBs. It's not the most efficient fights ever, but this gives time for Doubt to slowly climb back into the game. I think they got the most out of that fight.
That's about as good as they could hope for. Just as Doubt overextended earlier and allowed Miguel and Dogao to clean up all the crossbowmen, same thing now. Dogao overextending, thinking he was maybe a little bit too far ahead, and then Miguel thinking that he was going to just be fighting Slam, but no. But now, you know, the knight numbers are a lot lower. Slam still doesn't have +2, and he's up on his way to Imperial Age, whereas it's going to be more and more and more knights from 4 stables for Miguel, so this could be a little bit of a window for our Heresy team.
Yeah, exactly. But on the other hand, right now a lot of those knights are gonna go down to TC Fire, the knights here, and there's more from Slam. So sure, there is going to be knights coming from Miguel, but it doesn't really have a lot of production right now. Again, those stables are stacked with knights, but you need more from Miguel, otherwise Slam can keep up with the production and just drag it out until he gets into Imperial.
Something that's important, though, is that even just a few little skirmishes here and there, you have Dogao who's killing the crossbowman of Doubt, which means that he's just never sort of getting to the snowball of crossbowmen that he needs. He actually has half the military of his opponent. So even if, you know, the cavalry trades more or less evenly between Miguel and Slam, the advantage that Dogao has over Doubt could just be snowballing further and further here.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, if Doubt gets the Arbalest, which is going to happen right now, he's gonna have way better ARBs than Dogao. Worthwhile to note is that on the right side, Miguel is expanding to the corner, so he's trying to deny the future trade of their opponents. And on the north, they're also starting to set up their own trade quite early on over here, as Dogao is gonna go for the castle here. Not sure if Doubt can stop that, but it could be a possibility, honestly. That's not a lot of villagers constructing it.
Castles. He is one with the castle, as they say.
Yeah, that's not a lot of villagers, and that could end up being a Doubt castle.
No, the castle will go up, and that's actually horrible, because now there's a castle, you know, in between Doubt and Slam, and there's another big fight on the other side. Yes, Slam is an Imperial Age, but it takes so long for Cavalier and +4 defense to come in, so it's still a little bit rough. We also have Miguel up on his way to Imperial Age. He'll be the last player up, but he's still getting there.
Yeah, but this is the window of opportunity for Slam, though. He needs those Cavaliers to really do damage right now once he gets the upgrades in, because the dangerous part for him was going up to Imperial, while his opponent was just flooding knights in castle. But if you have the Cavaliers, you could potentially take some good fights.
Yes.
Oh, Doubt!
But...
No! What is Doubt doing?
Well,
He's
what is
just
Doubt doing?
He's just camping right next to the Gauss cast. That's a lot of crossbows dead. Oh man.
Oh.
And in the meanwhile, Slam is gonna lose the TC here. Still waiting for the Cavalier and +4 to kick in. Once that happens, he could take this fight, I believe, but he's just waiting.
Yeah, like, and these Saracen archers are just absolutely nuking everything. Cavalier will do great against, like, early numbers of Arbalests, but there's already so many Arbalests, and they already have chemistry in, so the lowish numbers of Slams now Cavalier, they can be dealt with by the Arbalest, and then the Knights are going to be good enough in terms of tanking.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I think Slam is just waiting until he can fight one decisive fight over here, but he's losing a lot of ground. He's dropping in villagers quite massively. They also are nowhere close to getting trade up. And in the meanwhile, Dogao is just going for pure elite skirms because From this point on, he knows that there is no cavalry support for Doubt's forces here on the left side.
And he knows he just needs to clean up that army of Arbalests, and then he's pretty much good to go. It's more of just preventing any hope for the opposing team.
And since Miguel is up to Castle Age as well, he's gonna have Cavalry and +4 right now, so this force from Slam is just not going to be enough. It's going to be 22 Frankish Cavaliers against 23 Berbers. That's pretty much even.
Yep. I don't think the extra 4 HP really matters a whole lot in a big Cavalier war, but also Slam is actually still missing the attack upgrade, whereas Blast Furnace is actually already on the way for our red players. Is he actually on double Blacksmith? Is he a pro? Oh, he is a pro. Double Blacksmith all the way.
Honestly, I think that the only win condition right now for Doubt and Slam is if Slam can use that army of Cavaliers to just rush into Miguel's place and do a huge amount of damage, just like as much as he suffered.
I will make you suffer what you did to me.
Yeah, basically.
Probably not, though. It's looking pretty grim right now for Gamer Legion. They're just completely outmaneuvered. Military numbers are just around double for our Brazilian team. And yeah, this is looking pretty bloody.
Left side, that's a good fight for Doubt, but Slam has to add light cavalry over here, and this is what Miguel is going for. He's going for heavy cavalry or heavy camel. That's actually great because right now there is no archer support on the right side from Doubt because they're kind of cut off from each other. You can see that Dogao is just patrolling this hill in the middle, in between the two players. So Miguel can just go for the heavy camel and just destroy the cavalier with that.
Oh yeah, and at this point, you know that, okay, you can go Knights and Cavalier, and you can be even with the Franks, so long as they're doing the same thing. But once the Paladin upgrade comes in for Franks, then you're just going to be so outgunned that it's not really... The cheaper cost for your Cavalier just isn't worth it, so switch into the Camels at that point, and then just try and take the engagements as best you can around your opponent's Arbalests. And Doubt's trying to get some raiding done himself, but it just feels like it's too little too late.
Yeah, at this point, this is very, very tough for them. There is a big blob of Arbs and Cavaliers over here at the back of Slam's base, and Slam's eco is very weak behind this one. I just don't think that Slam can take this fight as it is.
And he keeps on getting all of his cavalry numbers, like, reset, essentially. And I think the biggest thing is that Dogao's army is just getting larger and larger and larger, and because he was snowballing the crossbow numbers early on, Doubt was never really able to catch up. And, I mean... Ethiopian crossbowmen / Arbs are good, but if you're getting outnumbered, 3-1, then they're not that good.
Yeah, and also, GL is not even close to dropping any trade, whereas Dogao and Miguel are already setting that one up, so GL is gonna run out of gold. In fact, Slam doesn't even have any gold income right now. He has lost his gold mines, and Doubt is also only having 7 villagers on gold, so with trash, they aren't really going to win this one. It's light cav versus heavy camo over here very soon.
Yeah, I mean, and even the cavalry of Slam is a lot of light cav. It's also a lot of just converted knights, so it's not as good there. And the heavy camels, fully upgraded, coming in. Again, still missing most of those attack upgrades as Slam. That definitely has been a big factor in these knight battles. And yeah, Dogao coming in even more in Doubt. Really not in a whole lot of a position to do anything.
Oh my god, that was a slaughter over there. Slam's army just got absolutely evaporated.
Yeah, without Paladin, the Cavalier and Light Cav and whatnot are just nowhere near enough. Doubt, too far away to help, and that is actually going to be the GG. Game number 1, go into Heresy.
Indeed, and well, as I said, this series could be very close. There were a lot of swings in this one, so there was a moment where Doubt and Slam were looking like, oh yeah, they're gonna kill Dogao, and their start was pretty great. I believe what really mattered is, as you said, that Dogao was able to get a better cast, and Imp time, especially the Imp time, was so influential because Doubt just lost so many crossbows trying to fight against Arbs. He had to fight that, but those weren't great fights.
Yeah, I think both Miguel and Dogao played a huge role in, their team's victory, but I think in kind of different ways. I think what really impressed me with Dogao was that he went for the very, very aggressive, early Castle Age play into early crossbowmen and being slow to add TCs. But he still did add the TCs, and he was able to really get a better economy than Doubt, even though Doubt went 3 TCs first, just because they were able to pressure and get the damage done. Whereas Miguel's, it was just his army positioning was just beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Miguel was playing very nicely with Berbers. And Berbers are having a 63% win rate on the tournament so far. So that's actually pretty solid for Berbers. They were mostly picked on Golden Pit, but they are also showing their strengths on Arabia.
Yeah, I kind of actually don't even like them that much on Golden Pit.
It can
Arabia,
work nicely for the same reason. You can flood those knights so easily, and then you get a foothold in the middle, and then you just defend.
True, but I feel like Berbers really like having the very open maps, and Golden Pit's super wallable. Like, I think how important it was in like early to mid Castle Age when all those raids came in from Miguel onto Slam. I feel like you wouldn't be able to get that on Golden Pit. But obviously, you've seen more of this than I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Sick KD from the Brazilians. 276 to 159 for Miguel and 307 to 215 for Dogao. 87 largest army for Dogao too.
All right, so with that, we're gonna go to the first home map of Dot and Slam, either Golden Pit or Golden River. So, which would you think would be a more suitable map for them based on what we have seen from them in game number 1?
Personally, I feel like if you want to play the more aggressive game, then Golden River is going to be a bit better, I think. Also, yeah. I mean, it's just I don't think they want to be in a scenario where they can just their opponents can just hang back and then be able to abuse perhaps a little bit of miscommunication in terms of army positioning. But I think it's still really even.
Yeah, I would say that Golden River might be a tiny bit better, or Golden Stream to be precise, for them, because that's the map where you can blow yourself up and go for more like the macro play, which I think is a huge strength for Doubt's team. As you said, Slam had a great macro in the first game. Doubt is known for having a great macro, so I would say that Golden Stream is a little bit more macro-oriented at the beginning, and that could be great for GL.
Yeah, definitely. I will be right back.
Well, that gives me a chance to entertain your audience as well.
Oh, they're used to it. I know you can do it.
Indeed. So, well, apparently we're going Golden Pit, by the way. So, speaking of Golden Pit over here, since Franks and Ethiopians are gone for Dot and Slam, and we have lost Berbers and where is that? Saracens for Miguel's team. Golden Pit, there is a lot of options over here, I would say, but Britons can be a pretty strong one over here. Tatars can be great. It's a very, very underrated save. Archers into Cav Archers with Tatars on Golden Pit is extremely strong. We have seen that from Hera. So Tatars could be a possibility. For Cav Archers, Britons could be a possibility. For Cavalry Civ, I guess Huns potentially is the idea, or Teutons. Might be Teutons. Like Teuton plus Tatar or Teuton plus Britons could be a pretty strong combo over here, I would say. And on the other side, Miguel's side, Byzantines are solid, I would say. Vietnamese are still available, which is a nice thing to have. Spanish could be something to consider. I think they will leave versions for Twin Puddles alongside Japanese. So this leaves us with either Slavs or Spanish. It's tricky because if you go for Slavs and your opponent goes Huns, you are going to be without Paladins when your opponent does have it. So I think you kind of have to go for Spanish here if you are afraid that your opponent is gonna go Huns. But it appears that Doubt is going to choose Britons, as I snapped that from his stream. So, well, Britons is this civilization for Doubt. We'll see what Slam is gonna go for, but probably some sort of cavalry civ. I would assume that Teutons will be the selection then, and they're not going to use the Tar Heel bonus here on Golden Pit. And Orlan's
I'm back.
So, my prediction for civs was something like Teutons and Britons or Tatars, and we're gonna have Britons for Daud. That is something we know.
And we will be having Huns for Slam.
Huns. Interesting, but not unexpected. Huns are just generally good civilization. I expected them to be at a different map, though, to be honest. Like, you don't really think about Huns as a great civilization for Golden Pit. They are generally good civ, but they're not necessarily map-specific towards Golden Pit.
No, I think Huns like it a bit more open. I don't think Huns like the whole contest one central point of the map style as much. But I think it's also a matter of comfort. Like, Slam is just super comfortable playing Huns, whereas he might be less so with Teutons.
Yeah, the other thing I can think about is that we have seen so many times in this tournament that Berbers can be very strong on Golden Pit because of the triple stable knights play. That's something that you can also do with Huns. It's a little bit harder, but the Hun eco behind that one is good enough to be doing a triple stable knights build. And then you can basically do the same thing as you would do with Slab or with the Berbers, and it appears that Slam is going to open scouts while he's walling himself up. We're gonna have 4 walls from Daud very soon. And he does have a nice little gold mine at the back, even has the Huntables surrounded, and he's gonna start adding archers. Looking at Dogao, he's playing Mayans in yellow, and on the other side we have Miguel as Slavs in red.
Yep, pretty normal looking stuff. We have an archer civ and a cavalry civ, but I kind of like the civs for Heresy a bit more when it comes to just taking map control. Like, you have Mayans who are going to be great in terms of like dropping castles in the middle and then going into plumed archers and doing all of that good stuff, which is going to be good against Britons. And then I feel like Slavs, you have a really great economy, and you also have the way better siege than Huns, which I think is going to be potentially really important.
Yeah, that's true, but on the other hand, I actually think that GL has better civilizations because, yeah, you can get great map control with Slavs and Mayans, but holding map control is just probably easier with Huns and Britons here. Britons will be winning the trap wars most likely with if we actually get there with Warwolf. And what I like about Huns is that you can actually start adding Tarkans at some point in the game, which can be a pretty nice unit to play with if Miguel is unable to reinforce the front line with enough cavalry.
It's always something that you have to keep in mind when you're up against Huns. I know that I've won a lot of games with Huns just because, the opponent wasn't expecting a bajillion Tarkans to come out everywhere and it just cleans up all the archers. But we'll have to see. I definitely think that it's going to be pretty easy to hold map control if, GL gets it. I just think it's going to be a little bit hard to actually do that, but you just have everyone currently with their usual scouts and archers just kind of running around.
Yeah, but I like the push from Slam and Daud a little bit better because they will have a chance to pressure Dogao's gold mine. Those walls are very close to the gold mine, not the most ideal ones. And in the meanwhile, Dogao's on the front with the archers, but Daud is just going to quick wall behind this one. And I know it's Daud and quick walls, but still, Daud's gold mine is safe. Daud has wood at the back, berries at the back, so it's not like Daud is gonna lose a lot if he walls behind this one well, and apparently he's gonna do so.
Yep, Daud's coming in with these archers right now, the very exposed gold and woodline as well. For Dogao's just a little bit unfortunate when it comes to map gen. First villager kill will be in favor of Daud over Dogao, and already a defensive watchtower is forced out. That in itself is a pretty nice win, and as you were saying, Daud, the quick wall master himself, able to get his contingency walls up in time.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, Daud has to idle some of his farmers because of the archers, and you also will need some more time to get up in the castle age. Daud is the last player to get up to castle. Slam is actually having a better castle age time than Miguel over here, despite the Slavic farming. And we're also gonna have bloodlines coming in by now for Slam alongside chainboarding. And that should be able to clean this one up pretty nicely over here on the front line, because it appears that Miguel is adding more and more scouts, but Miguel doesn't really have any upgrades on those.
Something that's a little concerning, though, is Dowd's going to be losing his archery ranges at this rate. Miguel did invest a little bit more into scouts, I think, which is why we're seeing Slam click up faster. But yeah, this is actually a little bit uncomfortable for Dowd. Even though he got the villager kill, it's actually 11 military for Miguel versus only 4 for Slam. But it looks like the Heresy team will be forced back for the time being.
Yeah, it looks like it. And in the meanwhile, as you said, there's better numbers for Miguel, but those scouts are pretty much useless in Castle Age if Slam starts to go for Knight, so I'm not sure if it's worth it for Miguel right now to go for that many scouts, especially if Dowd gets crossbows, but Dowd needs crossbows, otherwise he could be in trouble against that many scouts with Bloodlines and +1 armor, which just comes in for Miguel.
Yeah, I mean, like, he has some archers, but, if the scout numbers are this high, scouts can deal with archers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was agreeing with you. It's a rare thing, but no, I do totally agree. Still, Dowd coming in with more reinforcements, and here we are, Miguel trying to cut off the army of Dowd.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think Miguel has quite a lot of low HP scouts over here, so Dowd might be able to escape, but indeed, Dowd kind of has to run and buy a little bit more time for himself. I think he's close enough to his base so that he can actually run back. He might lose a few archers, but it's still fine. And remember that soon we're gonna have Slam arriving with the Knights as a relief force, and then Dogao's army could be in trouble.
Yeah, definitely. We also have to consider the fact of Britain archery rangers producing faster. Definitely, I think, a really, really important bonus for the Civ. Still, though, Miguel does have 10 military, so he still has a decent amount of scouts running around, which can still do a good job of picking off reinforcements or raiding or whatever. But let's see. Still only 1 TC for Dogao, interestingly.
Yeah, he went for the fast ballistics over here, especially considering that he had to make a defensive tower, so he's just starting to mine stone to get the additional TC up. And on the other hand, Miguel is going to be playing with 2 TCs, expanding his base. Look at that. He had an initial base, and he's just gonna wall a little bit more to the front. Left side, Slam is going to be playing with triple TCs, though.
Yep, makes sense. This is consistent with what we saw in the previous game. Oh yeah, there's the 3rd TC at the front. And already +2 defense, Bloodlines in for Mr. Slam. Even going to have Husbandry as well. Miguel, meanwhile, even has all that, as well as +1 attack. And he will be our first player to town center the middle.
Yeah, and that is actually a very, very nice position to hold. That is 10 knights against just 8, but as you said, Miguel does have slightly better upgrades, but in the meanwhile, I think that Dowd's army might be slightly better than the one from Dogao. As you said, the Britain faster working archer range bonus helps here quite a bit, and I have a feeling that Dowd wants to TC the middle here as well.
Yep, and indeed he will be doing just that. That is going to be his 3rd town center. But nonetheless, I still feel like map control is nominally a little bit better for Miguel and Dogao, but it's going to be really hard to take these fights with the 8 range versus the 7 range. It's just always so tough to engage. Britons and mines, I think, are going to struggle a little bit until they can get their plumes up and running, or just go into 3 ranges or something.
Yeah, you're right, but on the other hand, we have a +2 armor for Dogao, whereas we have just +1 for Dowd. 3 TCs working for Slam though already, and if you take a look at the ecos, Slam and Dowd are both behind Miguel and Dogao. That's a little bit surprising to me, even though Miguel is just getting to a barrel.
I'd expect. But yeah, Dogao's only on 2 town centers, so Dowd, I think, is gonna... Yeah, Dowd's on 3, so he will be able to overtake his opponent relatively soon. Both of the knight-making players are on 3 TCs, relatively even, more or less, in terms of eco and military.
Yeah, indeed. In the meanwhile, Dowd has his other gold mine pre-exposed here at the front of his base, and if you take a look at his base, he finished off the first gold mine within, so his gold miners right now are pre-exposed. I'm somewhat surprised that he's not sending all his vultures to the middle and still picking that gold mine in front of his base, which is pre-exposed.
Yeah, it's interesting because the middle of the map is actually safer for Dowd because that's where his army is than, the random area in front of his base. Also, if it encourages and the enemy to attack over here, then stray reinforcing crossbowmen can also get picked off really easily, so it's also something you need to consider. But right now, it is going to be a party at Dogao's house, and everybody's invited.
Yeah, but you also have +2 armor for Dogao and Thumbring, whereas Daud only has the extra range, but no extra armor and no Thumbring with Britons.
Something you have to be careful with, and if, you know, the crossbowmen of Dogao can fight downhill, that's going to be really sick. The knight numbers are greater for Miguel. Crossbowman numbers are almost identical, but this is a straight-up shootout, and the relatively faster firing crossbowman from Dogao should really help secure victory here.
Yeah, but Daud's crossbows were firing downhills for the majority of the fight, and in the end, I think this is gonna be like, okay, the crossbows survived, all the cavalry is dead, and everybody's just gonna go back home.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of tricky to actually pursue this army. Honestly, I'm not sure why Miguel is even trying. I guess it allowed Dogao to maybe pick off a few more crossbowmen, but still, like you're saying, mostly the cavalry's been decimated, but the crossbowmen stand tall. If anything, that was just a slight advantage for Heresy.
In the meanwhile, Dogao is gonna drop a castle in the face of Daud and Slamdo in the middle. If you take a look at his stone count and the army that's marching to the middle, I think that is going to be a castle drop attempt. Slam is getting more and more cavalry here into the middle. Reinforcements also coming from Miguel, and Miguel is working with 3 stables. I think that Slam might be only on 2.
That was actually what I was just looking at myself. He is indeed only on the 2, and this is what I was talking about. Getting map control is just so powerful with Slavs and Mayans. You can just really... They have the better eco with Slavs, in the case of Slavs, and they have the cheaper archers in the case of Mayans, so you can more quickly amass just more units and then just take control of the castle drop.
Yeah, indeed, and that is going to be a very, very problematic thing to deal with. But on the other hand, if you take a look at Daud's food eco, he could actually be going up to Imperial, get a castle up on the outside, on like top of the elevation, and just trap this one down, because on Golden Pit it's always the attacker's advantage with the hill.
Yes, that is why I think the map is ultimately more interesting than Gold Rush, because if this was Gold Rush, the game would be over right now. Whereas obviously that is not the case in Golden Pit, just because to get the more valuable resource, you have to put yourself at the tactical disadvantage. But, oh boy. Let's all start getting your diamond pickaxes ready, because it's time to go mine some obsidian arrows.
And also, Slam is going up to Imperial, so it's not just Daud clicking up to Imp, it's also Slam. And the other thing that's interesting in Golden Pit in comparison to Gold Rush is that you can still have both teams or like opponents mining gold at the same time in the middle. So even though there is a castle from the Dogao there, Daud is still able to get some gold for himself. Daud was missing the buildings, this is why he still hasn't clicked up, which is losing him quite a lot of precious time. And oh boy, that TC could melt very fast.
Good, it is. Melting like butter. Still, Daud trying to, pick off as many crossbowmen as possible. Will still have an Imperial Age advantage over his opponent, if not a slight one. And his eco should be a bit better than Dogao's, but of course it's only 2 villagers, so that's actually not really much.
I think that I would say that this is the time where the real strengths of the Hun plus Britain combo could actually show. If we actually get to a position where we're gonna have traps coming out, we're gonna have Imperial Age armies, because as you said, getting map control is great with Huns or with Slavs and Mayans, and apparently Daud is losing his entire army just before they would be upgraded to Imperial Age units.
Oh yeah, this is exactly what I thought the problem would be with the early Imperial Age attempt for Slam.
Yeah, but there is quite a lot of cavalry coming in here for Slam, and Slam could just destroy Dogao's army here as well, or at least do quite a lot of damage to it. And, well, Daud is still gonna have some crossbows here in this one. I think they might be able to hold this. Dogao is also going Imp.
Yeah, he's only a little bit slower than his opponent, and I definitely think that this has been way, way better for Heresy, as they've really thinned out Daud's numbers quite significantly. Very reminiscent of the last game, honestly, and honestly all of the cavalry will be dying from Slam as well, so that is going to be 2 armies that have been heavily diminished right before Imperial Age.
Yeah, the problem here right now for GL is that they combine for 25 military when Dogao alone has 30. Daud going into Elite Skirm. I think he wants to get a castle up here, but that might be a Daud castle, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty doubtful of that one myself.
Although,
oh boy, this is kind of awful right now.
yeah, but now it is Cavalier time for Slam, and it's not like Miguel has a lot of army here. And if you take a look at Miguel, he's not even close to clicking into Imperial, and in the long run, the Cavalier will be able to dominate this one. Daud could drop a castle, could start trapping down the castle for Dogao, and Hans and the Britons are two of the best trap saves out there.
Yeah, definitely. This is the time, though. You really need to make the cavalry.
Oh, look at the castle from Daud! He always says he's dropping castles to win games or lose games, and this is actually either a great castle or a disaster castle. Because if it goes up, it cuts off Dogao's reinforcements from the middle.
It does. Something I'm a little concerned about, though, is Slam's army size is
Look at
really low. Oh, you gotta be... Well, I mean, they have a desperation moment. They don't have control of the middle right now, and they need to get it right now. But you have Arbalest and Bracer coming in right now as well for Dogao. So right now, I think the castle's going to be very sad.
Oh man. Oh man. They tried. They really tried. I think it's very tough to tell where this actually slipped for Daud and Slam. Maybe indeed Slam's early Imperial was a little bit of a problem because basically what Miguel did was just flood knights and force Daud to take fights, as Daud couldn't run away. Whereas on the other side, Dogao didn't really use a lot of archers because they were never really exposed to cavalry aggression.
I think it comes down to that mid-game map control. You saw that Dogao and Miguel focused a lot more on getting the large numbers of military units out earlier, and you saw Slam and Daud try and get a bit more of a good eco going, and then maybe get a better Imperial Age time and take back the middle that way. But you kind of need to get to the middle a little bit sooner, and so, you know, to try and defend their holdings in the middle of the map, Daud and Slam were forced to take fights that they just were at a numerical disadvantage with and ended up just getting slammed, as it were.
Yeah, indeed, getting slammed. And now you see why Berbers are so strong on Golden Pit. It's basically the same theory. In fact, it's even better than Slavs. You're just flooding knights, and that gives so much time for your archer player to get into good crossbow numbers and then potentially get a relatively fast Imperial and Arbs. So basically you just use the cavalry civs that didn't lay civ, and you just spam knights until you have a foothold in the middle, and then just have your Arbalest civ finish off the game.
Yeah, and of course, I'd also want to shout out to Dogao also just sending 11 Arbalests into the base of Daud. And of course, these are Obsidian Arrow Arbalests, and that really just made Daud's eco, you know, super idle. So there was really nothing going for him at that point. Even if he did get the castle up, he was already, you know, super far behind in villagers anyway.
And we're at match point so far. Being totally honest, this is looking a little bit one-sided over here, but we have seen nice turnarounds, to be honest. Let's see if Daud and Slam will get warmed up for game number 3 over here. Their other home map is Golden Stream, which is again a gold denial map, but now Miguel and Dogao are actually out of these early Castle Age pressure civilizations, if I'm not mistaken. What we are left with could be Byzantines, I believe, because on Golden Stream, the early Imperial Age could really show, I think. Maybe Portuguese could be for the same reason, or Malay. But I think on Golden Stream, even more than on Golden Pit, a fast Imperial can really be influential because the middle is relatively small, so you don't have to control a lot of area.
Yeah, I've never seen this map, so I'll definitely trust you on this. Something I also think that's worth mentioning, though, is if you look at the civs that have been picked, Daud and Slam picked their top 4 non-banned civs, whereas it's been a bit more of a mix for Miguel and Dogao. So they still have some very strong civs, especially on hybrid maps going forward, which I think is going to be really sick for them.
Yep, and if the tendency continues for Dot and Slam, we're just gonna see Incas and Aztecs here.
Oh no. Disaster.
Like, honestly, I think one of the best civilizations here for Golden Stream would actually be Koreans. You can go turtle ships, you can go for Korean towers for the control over the middle. I'm somewhat surprised that Koreans are not picked on either side.
I picked Koreans on Golden Swamp fairly often back when that was in the map pool. I also like going for them on stuff like Islands and Archipelago. All you do is you just tower everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that Koreans are a little bit underrated over here.
Like, honestly, I feel like Koreans are just a solid civ on most maps types now.
Yeah,
Like,
I can
the
agree.
wood bonus is good enough, I think.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about the wood bonus itself. There is some versatility to them, so they're actually pretty solid as archer civilization. You have the war wagons, which is always a little bit dangerous. They have good onagers. Then you have pretty solid naval strengths, I would say. And I think what really matters is the towers, believe it or not. Because what the towers give you is a very, very good defensive opportunity, if you think about that. If you ever need to defend against like a mangonel aggression, for example, you just need to drop, even if you drop a watchtower in feudal and you're just going up to castle, you're gonna get the free guard tower upgrade, which basically nullifies any mangonel aggression that you are facing.
Oh yeah, no, it's really nice. You force your opponent to go into rams at that point, which is easy to defend with mangonels, which, hey, guess what? You also like doing with Koreans. And it's a very different playstyle, I think, which is why people still probably don't gravitate towards it as much. But I do think that, especially on hybrid maps, they're just super powerful. That wood discount for ships is just insane. It's literally like getting the Viking bonus.
Yeah, it's pretty strong overall. And they are also pretty strong where there's like tight fighting places. So especially these goat control type of hybrid maps, like for example this map, where you just have all the gold in the middle, or Golden Swamp and similar maps. Koreans are so strong because you have a strong eco that is suitable for pushing forward a tiny bit, and then you are just extremely good at defending.
Yeah, it's very hard to dislodge Koreans as, you know, they're a top tier defensive civ, right up there with Byzantines and Teutons. Game not started yet for you?
Nope, it's not on just yet. But we're gonna go to Golden Stream, so I'm gonna go back to my Civ predictions. Technically, this is a map where you can actually flood with gods. Because this map starts very, very similarly to Lombardia, so you have a very defendable position to play with. So technically, gods could be an option, like for early fast castle Huskars. And, you know, just one player disrupt the opponent's eco with that, with all the raids. And the other one just booming behind that one. That could be an idea. Celts could be solid just because they're solid on general hybrid maps. Malians could work nicely. Maybe
Is
just
there fish on this map?
No, there is no fish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that leans towards Goths even a little bit more, because going for demo ships is a lot riskier if you have literally like no other reason to go for docks. Because like in my mind, like demo ships would be like one of the biggest challenges to Goths, because you just send them in and the infantry don't really do a whole lot except blow up.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, it would force the Goth player to go a bit more aggressive, which they wouldn't want to do. But yeah, I definitely think that if you're going to use Goths, this is probably a good map to do it.
Then you have Cumans available for Miguel's team, which can be nice over here. Even though you don't really want to do the Cuman boom on the feudal age thingy, you probably want to go for more like, okay, let's go for a fast castle, but start dropping that second TC before I reach castle age, so I will still have an eco lead in comparison to someone who just goes for a fast castle. Malay could be an idea. Byzantines or Portuguese could be solid, but Vietnamese were also unused by Miguel's team so far.
Yeah, I think they might want to say, well, I guess you might want to use Malay and You want to use Malay and Japanese for your hybrid maps. So I honestly think they're just a lot of really powerful civs. You kind of have to use Persians and Cumans at some point, but I think you can just use Cumans here and be fine.
Do you know why the game isn't starting? Because I'm gonna share a story with you.
Please tell me a story.
Right now, Daut is checking out the Tatar Tech tree. That's why we're still waiting.
Doubty.
So, Tatar is actually on his mind. Technically, Tatar isn't a bad civilization. Like, you can go for Fast Castle Cav Archers that get the Tumbling for free, and you can really get those Tatar Cav Archer numbers up pretty easily. And, well, you could also have the Tatar Trebs in the very, very long game, even though I don't think this is going to go very long. Just like Golden Pit, this even more so is about the early control over the middle, and then either one team retakes it very fast, or they're just gonna die.
I don't think I've seen any Empire War games go like super long, other than in the context of time limit back in Red Bull Wololo 1. I feel like it's just much more aggressive in general, but I haven't seen as much Empire Wars. I'm
going without spoilers on that, but I can tell you that there was a one game on Twin Puddles between Viper, Taro, and Johan Lix that actually went very long. So.
Oh yeah, but when the Spanish trade mattered, right?
There wasn't Spanish involved. In that one, but I think it was like 1.5 hours game time.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
So in Empire Wars,
map? Sorry for the random questions.
What was the question?
Are there any hills on this map?
I don't think so. Probably just a very, very minor. It's not influential, so it is not like per se Golden Pit, where you have a massive hill advantage possibilities, or Cape of Storms, where you have extremely influential water hills.
Yeah, I think you'd want to use Tatars on a map where you can actually use their bonus, right?
On the other hand, it doesn't matter if you don't win this map, and the free tumbling can still be great for just grabbing the map control in the middle fast, and then securing it that way. So I could understand it from that point, like similarly as you would get with Ethiopians, you just have an early strong archer push. You could have the same thing with Tatars with the free tumbling, as we have the game coming up. Oh no, I have to restart my game. Feels bad.
Oh no! Well, I'm in it.
Luckily, this is one of those maps where, you know, not a lot of things happen at the beginning, and apparently Tatars and Teutons versus Vietnamese and Spanish is the Civ combo.
Indeed. So, while you get your game restarted, I'll just introduce the players. We have Dogao as the yellow Vietnamese to the east of the map, and his teammate will be Miguel in the red as the Spanish, just to the southwest of him. And they are on match point, doing really, really well in this series so far. And with their tournament life on the line, will be Daut in the blue as the Tatars to the north, and just to the west of him will be Slam in the green as the Teutons. Interesting.
Yeah,
I think that these guys really want to take it long for Slam and Daut.
Yeah, honestly, I don't actually mind that one. Like, the Teuton Plus, if you talk about Teuton Knights at the beginning of Castle Age, they're just as good as Magyars, because you get the extra armor, which is comparable to having an extra attack in early Castle Age. So that is pretty nice to have, I would say, for Teutons. And for Tatars, you have the free tumbling, which again is going to be pretty useful for getting an early Castle Age presence up on the map, and then potentially dropping a TC in the middle, and then you can just, solidify control over the middle. Plus, with the Teutons, you have towers available, so you can actually go for pretty decent tower defense in the middle if you want to.
And then, honestly, Crenellations, you just drop a few of those guys in the middle of the map, and ain't no one getting near that without a ton of trebuchets. But I like Tatars in combination with Teutons, because you know that you're going to be a bit more on the defensive, a bit more on the passive side of things, and that will just give you a bit of time to get your Cav Archer numbers up and rolling until you get that, unbeatable death ball. Whereas it feels like Vietnamese and Spanish, they're going to be playing the much more standard approach.
Yeah, that's a lot more standard. And I think on this map, Spanish trade could be pretty legit, actually. If you lose the middle control. Okay, I will need to fast forward over here to make sure I'm up to date. But as I said, this map is mostly about walling. Usually, the cavalry player still goes for scouts. At least, that's more like a defensive measure, just to make sure that if you get pressured early on, then you are still going to, you know, survive. So it's more like a countermeasure against the opponent's scouts.
Yeah, I think the
And
scout play,
alive.
it just keeps your opponents honest, if it were. Like, it prevents them from just going maximum greed. You know, it can still poke around and see if you can get some damage done. If they go too greedy, they will just die instantly.
Yeah, and it appears that we're gonna have Doubt massing archers here already ready to click up into Castle Age and get crossbows. And on the other hand, the Gao, he's gonna have Castle Age time just as good as we have for Doubt. Miguel actually queues up one more Voyager despite the fact that he could have gone for Castle Age. I think he's missing the building here, just going for a stable.
Yeah.
And, well, we have a Slam. Oh, Slam is actually very far from Castle. What's happening to Slam over here?
Slam is actually playing Incas because he started going for some slingers for Doubt. He slung Doubt up to Castle Age.
Ah, that actually explains things, and Teutons can be great for that. You have a good eco, and you can sling all day and night. So if you slinged out here to quite decent crossbow numbers, like triple range crossbows with Thumbring, I can see that happening, honestly. Indeed, I can hear the slinging sounds right now. It's 16 archers for Doubt right now, but you still have to be cautious, because until you don't have the crossbows and you don't have ballistics, for example, you might still lose your archers to the Gao over here. And we also have knights coming in from Miguel. That's my biggest concern. The early knights from Miguel could be very dangerous against Doubt's archers and crossbows.
I hope that Doubt switches into Cav Archers, because you need to snowball this game, and it's going to be a lot easier to just eventually stop Crossbowmen than it is to eventually stop Cav Archers.
Yeah, exactly. You need... I think that this has to be triple range Cav Archers. Doubt has quite a lot of resources in the bank. Could this be a fast imp?
I was going to say, is this fast imp?
Yeah, looking at those resources, that has to be a
Yeah.
fast imp. But do the Tars have Arbs?
Nope.
Doubt just checked out the Tar Tech 3. So I wonder...
Yep, University Monastery. It's fast imp.
But fast imp into what? They do
Into
have
GG?
Bracer, though, and Chemistry, so they don't have Arb, but still, against Castle Age crossbows that the Gao has, having the free Thumbring and having Bracer and Chemistry could actually be influential. CA in the long run is going to be the likely thing, but I'm not sure what you are going to do with these crossbows. These could just be, you know, a defensive unit right now until Doubt can get up to Imp.
But you don't want to be on the defense, otherwise you have two people playing Age of Empires versus one person playing Age of Empires.
Yeah, true that, and Miguel is just gonna go triple TCs here. Dogao staying on one, going for ballistics. As look at that, that's going to be a sick imp time from him. And now it is his job to get ballistics for himself, I believe. Here it comes. And honestly, this is perfect. As I said, this map is very, very vulnerable. So if you take a look at what's happening, Miguel is gonna kind of just boom. What I would still love to see from Slam is go on stone and start slinging out a little bit of a stone. So Doubt can actually get a castle up in the middle with that early power spike. So if you take a look at how much gold is there for Heresy, that's not a lot. They have to move to the middle quite fast. So Doubt really needs to use that Castle Age power spike, or Imp time power spike that he has.
I already don't like this. I feel like this is barely stronger for Doubt than just playing normally. And, like, you're just dealing with only Brace or Crossbow. And, like, why not pick Incas? Like, joking about Incas and slinging, but Incas literally would do this better.
Yeah, exactly, because with Incas you would just get the Arbalasts, although you wouldn't have Thumbring, but I feel like that's not really the big deal here.
Yeah, that's not too important.
Doubt isn't really adding any Cav Archers, so it would have been better to go actually fast imp Orbs. In this one, Slam could lose his stable. I think they will soon realize that Slam is just slinging Doubt. They kind of have to, otherwise Slam would be up in castle by now.
Yeah, they definitely know that Slam is slinging Doubt at this point. how are they just not gonna die? Because Doubt's army is like okay, but it's only a little bit larger than the combined armies of Miguel and Dogao.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, Doubt is 90% towards Imperial. This is very, very dangerous. And especially considering there is a weak Policide wall over there that could be bashed through. Give credit to Slam, though, for really having a great defense. And Doubt already has Thumb Ring and Ballistics on those crossbows, getting Bracer and Chemistry. This is the moment to shine for Doubt.
Yeah, I mean, but no Arbalest. It's just gonna be so underwhelming. More and more reinforcements coming in for Dogao, and remember, this is everything. This is all of their hopes and dreams rest on these Tatar crossbowmen. Like, Doubt is literally making zero use of his civilization.
Yeah, indeed, now he's switching to Cav Archers, but I feel like this is way too late. He's losing all the crossbows.
I hate this strat. I think it's just so bad.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been good with Incas. If this was Arbalests, this would have been a good strategy, I believe, with any civ that has Arbs, but massing a bunch of crossbows so they are still crossbows is not gonna work. I mean, it's 8 attack against 7 attack and 1 extra range on Doubt's side.
Honestly, like...
He needs a mangonel defense, to be honest.
Even if this were, you know, an Arb civ, I still wouldn't like it, because it's just so easy to completely lose map control. Like, how on earth are you going to push your opponents back when you just have a bunch of Arbalests? Like, usually you don't sling a person into going Mass Arbalest, because Mass Arbalest will just die to way larger numbers of Knights and Crossbowmen.
And yeah, right now, Doubt and Slam are in huge trouble. They have nothing. Basically, it's 11 army against 31. Quite a lot of crossbows here. Slam is also going to Castle, so I guess he could try going for Knights now. He has a huge amount of resources in the bank, but now Doubt is the one that has nothing.
Yeah. That has pretty much nothing. He's trying to get into Cav Archers, but it is way too late. I guess he does have +4 defense already, thanks to the free Parthian tactics.
And
like,
honestly, that's a lot of Cav Archers now.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, that's all quite nice. And they might end up cleaning up this army eventually, but if you just look at the villager counts, like, Miguel is just big chillin' already at 72 villagers, and yeah, Slam's gonna be losing even more before the night is over.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of one good push, one big push for Doubt. He's gonna have +6 or 7 Pierce Armor on those Cav Archers very soon though, but look at Dogao. Dogao is imping.
Oh yeah, like, this isn't an all-in push at all from Dogao and Miguel. Like, they're just playing standard. Like, I guess Dogao is... No, never mind. He's on 3 TCs. Miguel's giving up his 4th TC. They have control of the middle of the map. And, like, even if you're going for this play, like, normally, if you're Doubt, like, if you're an Arb Civ or he went Cav Archers or something, what do you do against buildings? He doesn't have anything that kills buildings.
I don't think the plan was to push off or, like, kill the enemy here with the Archers. The plan was probably to secure map control with them. But still, the problem here is that this is extremely dangerous, and they just got overrun here by better unit numbers. Now, the thing is that if Doubt can keep this blob of Cav Archers alive, as you said, you could get through a critical mass of Cav Archers, and things could still be turned around. I hear more and more slinging sounds. Slam has got basically no eco here. But Doubt is gonna clean this one up, which could give them like a very, very, very minor chance to climb back into this game. And never underestimate the Cav Archers from Tatars. Other thing I would love to see right now from either Doubt and Slam is demos, honestly.
Because, yeah, I mean, that's definitely something on this map.
Miguel and Dogao have slow-moving armies, so that would definitely be something to consider and kind of swing the battle back in their favor.
We now have Miguel clicking up as well, but I think just how well the Cav Archers are doing at just holding on right now, especially, I think the free Parthian tactics was a huge deal, especially versus the crossbowmen. But, like, why didn't you go for this in the first place? Like, this would have been even better if you'd just gone for the Cav Archers.
But there is the castles drop, and as I said, you don't need a lot of time until you control the map here. You just need a little bit of a time until you drop a castle and force your opponent off from gold. Slam is the one that's dropping the castle, and Doubt would have quite a lot of Cav Archers here. Of course, Miguel and Dogao could drop a castle, but if you take a look at the stone count for Miguel and Dogao, they have 0 stone. So it's not like they're gonna drop a castle and trap this one down.
does this map does have stone? Yeah, I see a little stone. Yeah, the castle from Slam is going to come up, and I'm pretty impressive that he was able to get it. Dogout does have Arbalest, and he's actually getting Elite Skirmisher. Of course, with Vietnamese, you can go all the way up to Imp Skirm. Unfortunately, though, Slam, the one with the castle, is not an Imperial Age, so no Trebuchet, so that's going to be a little bit of a bummer. It's not going to force them off gold completely just yet.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, Daut has 39 Voyagers, by the way, so his eco is absolutely in ruins. Daut and Slam have basically the same amount of Voyagers together as Miguel has alone.
Huge misplay from Dogao, though. He just ran all of his Arbalests into the Cav Archers and didn't really attack them. And, oh no, I hope this isn't a throw from Miguel and Dogao. Well, I mean, I want the series to go 5 games, but I don't want it to be because of a throw.
Yeah, that was a massive mistake from Dogao, and without gold, you're not really making traps over here. That's the problem for Miguel and Dogao. And, well, those Cav Archers could just run straight into the base, and they can be so annoying. And normally you would just say, oh yeah, you have a fully bombed Spanish player, here comes the Paladin spam, but how are you gonna spam Paladins if you don't even have any gold to work with? Like, if you take a look at Miguel, he's like having 300 gold here in this gold man, the front left. He's now moving to the left side to get some gold, making a castle though on the left, so I guess this is Slam's job to go for battering rams here and knock this one down. Or he could sling Daut into potentially dropping a castle.
I like the ram play a little bit more. And I think that the almost success, I would say, of this strategy from Daut and Slam just goes to show that I would like this so much more if they just played Standard. Because I feel like this army composition can just be so strong at snowballing a game, especially on a map where snowballing is super important. But here come the Imp Skirms. They don't have the greatest upgrades in the world. We have +2 defense on the way, but it's just these Cav Archer numbers are so irreplaceable for Daut.
Yeah, he cannot lose these Cav Archers. On the other hand, he is going to start picking off villagers. Dogao is trying to trap those Cav Archers. If Daut loses the Cav Archers here, he's out of the game and they're out of the tournament.
He's gonna lose the Cav Archers here, and they're gonna be out of the game and out of the tournament.
Oh, yeah, that's not great. He might need to just run past those Imp Skirms and, you know, take the losses, but you don't want to take this fight here.
Like, yeah, he might kill all the Imp Skirms. They are missing +4 defense right now. But, I mean, the Imp Skirms are so much cheaper than Cav Archers, and it's not like they're a gold unit, right? I mean, Dogao can just replace them. He's on 78 vills to Daut's 48.
Yeah, right now Heresy's got a great eco, but honestly, if you take a look at Slam, Slam is imping, and Slam's got a great eco as well. Daut almost getting trapped over here, but it doesn't really matter. He has 3 Cav Archers left. And Cavaliers are in there as well for Miguel now in quite huge quantities.
Yeah, Daut's got 22 Cav Archers, so it's not like the military numbers are that much better for Heresy. It feels like this is almost working, but almost working doesn't mean working. And Daut's not even getting heavy Cav Archer, you know, this millennium. And Slam's not getting an army this millennium, so it's kind of a double not that great situation.
Yeah, indeed, that's just pretty bad over here. Slam is just trying to keep that castle alive. Although, those Cavaliers might actually die over here for Miguel. I think that there is enough firepower in those castles. You could just garrison the Cav Archers into the castle.
Oh, the castle doesn't have fletching.
Still, yeah. You don't want to lose the Cav Archers, so garrisoning is still something that should and could happen.
That is also true. This feels pretty over.
Yeah, this feels pretty much GG. Although, being honest, there is not a lot of archers from Dogao. Only skirms, and Teutons have the extra melee armor on their knights. So, if we get into some decent cavalier numbers here for Slam, I could see this one still happening. They still have a little bit of a gold left, even though they didn't scout it. If you take a look at the map, they didn't scout that there is 2 extra tiles of gold on each side, which could hurt quite a bit. But, as I said, the Teuton Knights are rather slow here, but they still have the extra melee armor, which could compensate a tiny bit.
Well, extra melee armor is great in an otherwise even fight. Not as good as +4/+4. And Cavalier.
Yeah, of course, you need Cavalier and +4/+4 over here in this one.
This is 50 Shades of Over. Pretty disappointing, honestly, from Daut and Slam. I would have expected better performance from them.
Yeah, the thing is that I don't know if they know about the extra gold mines, but that's the difference between the two teams, because Miguel and Dogao know about them, as Doubt is just gonna call it, and they are gonna go out against Heresy here with a 3-0 defeat. I'm a little bit disappointed. In fact, I'm quite massively disappointed. And who knows, had Doubt gone for something different with this sling strategy, I think it could have worked. Like, if this was Arbalest slinging, this would have worked. Or if this was
He's on Cav Archers from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If he just goes straight Cav Archers. Because he massed so many crossbows, and he even checked the Tatar tech tree before the game. That was the surprising thing for me. So he knew that there is no Arbalest for Tatars.
Yeah. The Archer line's even the very first thing in the tech tree.
Yeah,
Like, it's literally the thing that's furthest to the left.
yeah, so this definitely relied on getting that castle up in the middle. The problem was that the Cav Archer numbers were just not sufficient enough. Doubt lost a lot of villagers to the aggression where they broke into their base. So, yeah, just look at the timeline, that snowball where suddenly Dogao just flooded the map with units. And, yeah, Doubt just got slowly destroyed here. He didn't have the eco to replenish the army, and, well, it seems like the one-player slings that everyone plays isn't really going to work, because especially if you're not able to play super aggressively, then the opponent is just gonna outboom you quite massively, and by the time that Daud got to decent Cav Archer numbers with imp upgrades, Dogao was up to Imperial with Imperial skirms.
Yeah, I think in general, slinging is better the more people there are in the game. So in a 2v2, slinging would be at its, comparative weakest, as literally half of your players are essentially unavailable for doing anything. But still very well played from Miguel and Dogao. I think they're looking really strong and facing, I think, Hera and Leary.